Well, Jay, you really can't overstate how much of a true legend in the music business Doc McGhee is. He's managed some of the biggest bands in rock and roll history, including Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, and of course, the hottest band in the world, Kiss.
On this special bonus episode of the podcast, I sit down with Doc, a longtime friend and colleague. We talk about music, artist management, Docisms, dodgeball, and QTR, which stands for Quality Time Remaining. So now, without further ado, here's Doc McGhee on a very special episode of the Your Morning Coffee podcast. Let it roll.
Stand by for transmission.
This is London calling.
Wake up! The revolution is at hand!
Your morning coffee is on the air. On the air. On the air. On the air. On the air.
Standing by.
Your morning coffee, the weekly music news for the new music business. It's the highly curated, agitated, advocated, moderated, and liberated digital music information that you need to know. We are your digital music authority. And now from our studios in Hollywood, California, here's your hosts, Jay Gilbert and Mike Etchart.
What's happening?
Doc, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy day to talk with me today. I appreciate it.
Jay, I don't have anything to do. I'm in QTR, buddy.
QTR.
No, I'm actually.
Yeah, for those that don't know QTR, that stands for Quality Time Remaining, and I learned that from Doc, and I subscribe to that. Well, let's jump right in. You know, you've been an artist manager for decades, and you've seen everything. I mean, from the business has changed so much. It went from albums to CDs to downloads, and now it's streaming. If you could kind of put yourself back in that first year where you started doing this crazy business, but with the knowledge you have today, what would you do differently?
I wouldn't have been a manager.
What would you do?
I probably would have owned my own company as far as a record label. I would have directed people like I did and been partners with them and let them prosper and me prosper at the same time. That's probably the only change I would have. I would be in the music business. It's not like I wouldn't be in, but management is not a great business. Never has been. There's been only a handful of people that ever did extremely well in this business.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed by being one of them. And, you know, it's a tough business mentally, you know, because everybody is your kid. Okay. So you're responsible for not just an artist, but you're responsible for their wife and their kids and their house payments and their car payments and everything that goes along with it. Me and you have worked so many things over the year, and we all say it. So you end up, I worked probably 30 of the years just for people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it, but I could not do it. You know what I mean? That because I know that their livelihood depends upon me.
Yeah.
You know, about making things happen, and those are the harder things to understand about. You know, when you're in that position, you're not just riding the pony, because if you ride the pony, you don't go anywhere. I have to come up with shit that changes their lives, that impacts their life to a greater extent than anybody else will. Because if I don't, the other people that could will then take the artist.
Yeah.
It's an unbelievably rewarding business and an unbelievably unrewarding business at the same time, meaning the emotional side of losing an artist that you put your heart into. And I see this from all over. So some of my friends and everyday people live as an artist here, because of the way everything is. So it's like what, Janet Jackson said it the best. What have you done for me lately? That's just human nature, I guess. So in order to combat that, yes, friendship is great. Being the father of the person is great. Being the dad in the family, all that's great. But every day I have to go do something greater for them, better for them, put them in a position bigger than where they were.
Yeah. And it's so much more than just business, right? I mean, it's a lifestyle. You're a therapist, you're a a counselor.
Well, but hey, listen, that's what I do, and I love it because I pick secretariats. I don't take artists that have just been, they don't, the big artists that are, the whatever, the U2s or the Coldplays or something like that. You can't sign those acts. Okay. Those are, you can pull a few things and moves for them, but really they're not going to listen to you. Not that they just are down the path. They have a whole thing going. And all I can do is up their production, make some good stuff, but not change your lives to where they come, which I like is, my book would be called Before the Zeros, when it was fun, when artists were artists, when they were writing songs because they fucking love to write songs, when it was about them, not what color jet do I have and why is it blue and oh my God, I got to bring these people and how about this and why didn't we get this and I need more money for all those things are not what I was in this business for.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's really that's really the egg is where's the thrill of it is taking these young kids they're like cancer patients. They sit there and they would do anything to walk out of the room with their hush puppies on. Okay. So, and when you can take those and break them, which I've been pretty lucky at doing, it's immensely important to me.
Easier said than done.
Well, there's, when you depict, it's like everything else, it's social media. You know what I mean? You've got an artist says, he stole my money. He took my money. Colonel Parker was a bad guy. He didn't do, well, maybe without Colonel Parker, Elvis Presley wouldn't have got out of Memphis, Tennessee, but that's not brought up. It's all brought up at the end of saying, oh, he made a bad move or he did movies with Elvis and he should, well, nobody was doing movies. So fucking nobody knew that it was going to help, hurt or whatever. He had to make moves, all right? And he made moves. And he only had one of the greatest artists of all time.
Yeah.
That was a gospel singer in a church, okay? So I think that the idea is there's managers and there's damagers, okay? There's doctors that heal people and there's doctors that kill people. They're still doctors, okay? So and there's still managers. Okay, so when you get that connection, the John Silvas of the world that are immersed in their artists, that work their ass off for them, I can name, Tim Collins, who was an amazing manager for Aerosmith at the time that he was there. Probably couldn't manage anybody else, but boy, was he great for that. Okay, Bill Aucoin, who started Kiss, amazing the shit that he came up with. Okay. All those people, Irving Azoff, who's a good friend of mine, one of the best deal makers in the fucking business. Those type of people are invaluable when you get the Elliot Roberts that people don't even know who Elliot Roberts is. You couldn't pick him out in the lineup. These kids that are listening to this thing couldn't tell you who Elliot was. David Geffen, who was a manager. Okay. There's Freddie DeMann, who probably nobody knows, okay? Rob Cavallo, okay? All these people that have come, David Krebs and Lieber and Krebs, that had only AC/DC, Aerosmith, Humble Pie, had everybody at the same time. They had Def Leppard. They had everybody. Okay, in the 70s and 80s. You know, John Landau with Springsteen. So there's a lot of people in there that are really good at what they do and have done great for all these amazing these great artists, because they all have the common knowledge that they don't know anything. Okay, they're not the ones that are the start. They take that artist and use them as that tool to go forward, because they see the connection that they have with they're not fans. They could be fans. I don't know. Some of them could be fans. I'm only a fan of a couple people, but I see the connection that people have. And that's what I do for a living, you know, is connect people.
Yeah. Well, the harder you work, the luckier you get. What do you think is the most common misconception, you know, people might have about the manager artist relationship?
Well, you know, over the years, when I started, it was, I didn't know what a manager did. I had no idea what it did. But anyways, as I started, and I'm a people's person, and I worked with people from the time I was 10 years old. You know what I mean? And I haven't had I always say I haven't had a bad day since my mother dropped me off at kindergarten. Okay. I was bummed. I remember the day. But then when I learned to get more graham crackers than everybody else, and got more milk, and I was fine. Okay. And you learn to work the room, you get to do it. So all that stuff started to culminate with me in this music business with writers. And in the first 3 years of putting this together, I was managing James Brown and Isaac Hayes and Mink DeVille and, you know, Melanie and all these artists that to me were mind-boggling that I was managing them. Okay. Now, I don't know if I was managing them or they were managing me at the time, because I didn't know what that was. But right. We got a lot of things moving. We did a lot of great things with James at Studio 54 and just all kinds of great shit, right? And then in 1982, I learned my biggest lesson I had been a manager for 7 years. And in 1982, and I thought I was doing really well. I had Pat Travers, it was blowing up. It was all good. Benny Mardones, all these things that were happening. And I was this, 30-year-old kid that, was making it all happen. Okay. And then in 1982, I was asked to go see this band Motley Crue on New Year's Evil.
Yeah.
Okay. And I listened to some of the stuff and I was like, wow, that's not anything I like to listen to, because I was into R&B and all that kind of stuff. And then people were bugging me. I said, I'll go out and look at it. Right? So I flew out for New Year's Evil, and I went in there and they were playing, and I couldn't even understand what they were playing. It was just loud, and they were exploding shit and fire everywhere, and they were rolling around. And I was like, what is this? Right? And then I looked around and I saw 3,000 kids going ape shit, tearing the fucking posters off the walls, burning garbage cans outside, bought every piece of merchandise that they could have. And I said, oh my God, I have been doing this all wrong. And I had to realize right then, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. This is what I have to do, is to connect people. Go to the connection. It's not me. So since then, I've never watched a band play on stage. Meaning, when I go to see a band, yeah, I know what they're going to do, and they're going to sing, and they're going to sing songs, and I'll listen to it. But I watch the audience, and that's all I do. And if the audience isn't into them, I'm not. I don't care how much I like the songs, because it's not about me. This is about their connection to their audience. It's like dogs. The dog senses shit. People sense stuff. And I only want to have the artists that the dogs want to go to. Okay. I don't want hair going up on their backs. Okay. I want the masses to enjoy stuff. And I want to bring them the best show that they've ever seen. That was always my plan. And that's why we did so well. It's not that difficult.
Have there been any moments where you had to choose between what was best for the business and what you believed was, best for the artist?
Actually, it comes up all the time. And I know this sounds stupid, but it's all about the brand. Because the other parts don't matter. If you start taking care of the other parts, then you lose what. Listen, this is a parasitic business. We all live off of artists. It's what fucking people don't understand. Okay, this is an ecosystem. But what we have to do is we have to support the ecosystem. That's what we have. That's what we have to do. We have to make sure that people don't come in and kill the reef. They can take little things, but they can't take it all, and they can't damage the brand. So my whole thing with all the artists is I represent the brand. I represent the brand of Kiss. I represent the brand of Motley Crue, of Bon Jovi, of all those. That's what I do. If I hope that what I do you like.
Yeah.
But if you don't, that's okay too. But I want you to know I'm not doing it so you don't like it. I'm doing it because it's the best for the brand. You may not realize it, but that's what it is. And if at some point you don't think I'm doing the right job, then I don't do it. But if I just do things to please people, they'll never happen. I have to save the brand from them because people kill themselves. Let them create. Let them do the things they do.
Gotcha. When Jeff and I were working with you on, I think it was Vintage Trouble, we had this little notebook and we would write down these things that you would say in meetings. I don't know if you're aware of this. We called them Docisms. And they were these little tidbits that seemed like a joke, but they were very wise words. I'll give you a couple of them. I wanted to get your input on this.
Yeah.
One, actually, I think you said this to me in Nashville outside of a Foxy show. Somebody was talking to you about becoming an artist manager, and you looked at me and you said, everyone's a bull rider until you open up the gate.
That's right.
That was one of my favorite ones. The next one was, we were talking about problem people in bands, and you said, when the shit gets bigger than the cat, you get rid of the cat.
That's exactly right.
Right. So did you know that your words were sort of having that sort of impact on people? Because they're folksy and people laugh at meetings, but they have an actual serious meaning behind them.
Something I do, because I put them there because people remember them and they're important to remember. So when I do a sound bite, when the cat shit gets bigger than the cat, you get rid of the cat. Everybody can understand that concept. You don't have to get into, well, if their parents are in there. No, just when the shit gets bigger than the cat, get rid of the cat. Okay. And in this business, it's not hard to get in. It's hard to get out. Okay. So when it turns into the cat shit, you have to say, I'm out. Okay. And that's the hardest thing. So those type of things. And if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
Love that.
That's always been one of my mottos, because that's what we do every day. I sit with these corporations today and they want analytics. Everybody's into fucking analytics. So they go, well, I don't see that there's 32% of this and I don't see where this goes. And I go, listen, you guys are too fucking smart for me, because you want to try to figure out what this band's going to do. And my motto is, when you have a hunch, you bet a bunch. That's it. These analytics don't come from, you don't build stars because you have fucking analytics. I have to build the stars so you fucking have analytics. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't have analytics, how do you know what a John Bon Jovi could do, or what a Motley Crue could do, or what a Kiss could do, or what a Guns N' Roses could do, or Skid Row, or any of them?
Sure.
You don't. You got to go out there and pound it. You got to find slots for them. You got to be part. You got to figure out what their lane is and who's crowded in that lane and all those things. You know that. We've talked about it a million times. And there's a lot of, like, you watch The Voice or you watch these TV shows. One thing they do that people don't realize is that these people, they don't turn their chair around, not because they're not a great singer. It's because they have somebody already in that spot. They want to turn around, but they go, I can't have two of these. I got my slot in country. I got my slot in rock. I need an R&B singer. That's what I'm looking for. This one might be looking for a fucking indie singer, thinking that that's what she wants to do. So when an indie guy comes up, he spins around right away. Okay. So it's all about timing and slots and tipping points that make things happen. People say to me, well, you had so much success. I go, yeah, but I came from, the 70s and 80s, where the early 80s, I had a tipping point. And my tipping point was MTV.
That's a good point.
Okay. I could put my infomercials up, my videos, my infomercial for live shows, because that's all you saw, my band playing live. Okay. And that was my infomercial for my shows. And that was my tipping point. Today, there isn't a tipping point. The only thing you have now is social media. We're now looking at events versus artistry. What can I do to cause an event? I'm doing this song and I have a hamster hanging out of my ass while I'm singing this song, and I get 3 million views on TikTok, right? And all of a sudden, Jason Flom and everybody goes crazy. Hey, they have 3 million hits, go sign them. You have record labels that have now gone from 3 album deals when I was there, where you built artists and worked them, to a single. You get one single. If that blows up, now you take another single, it does it, you're out. It doesn't matter about anything but streaming, because this is what we want is market share. We don't care about anything else.
Have a moment.
So my problem that I have with today's world of the music business is there is no tipping point. Okay. There's no avenue that people can do anymore. I'm not, I wasn't going to get into this, but I'm working on that, because that's what I think is important. I'm not going to retire and go play fucking gin rummy at the club and play golf every day. I like golf, but not that much. That play every day. So I have 1 or 2 things that I'm doing, and one is a new paradigm of how to break artists. I'm very close to having it finished, and I'll tell you about it when I get it done. But it's about live performance, period. It's what I believe why I got into this business was live performance.
Yeah. It's a real connection. It's real engagement. It's as old as
it's what we want to see. Yeah. It's what we I'm into avatars and all that stuff, and I'm doing the avatar thing, which I think is amazing.
Sure.
And visually and everything else, you're not going to get anything better than that.
Yeah.
Okay. The technology is just too crazy and too good. But to find the Adele, to find the Ed Sheeran and the Elton Johns of the world, and the Motleys and the Bon Jovis, and those that come up that affect people's lives. The letters that I've gotten over 30 years with KISS about how they save people's lives and kids with cancer, and I've been through the whole thing with them. Right? This isn't, I liked your song. These people, this is tribal. Music is tribal.
Yeah.
And corporations have taken it to a new level of spitting it out. Okay. And not making anything important. And social media has made people so important, so unimportant.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. You've worked with some amazing artists, and these are artists. They can be challenging people. What's sort of your rule for handling damage control? I brought it up because there was one time where I was sort of elected to deliver some bad news to you about an artist we were working on together that the music had leaked early. And I thought, oh shit, he is going to be livid. And I went into your office, and I don't know if you remember this, but I told you, and you said, good.
Good.
It means somebody cares.
Somebody cares. Somebody cares about it. Nobody gives a fuck about that artist. Okay. Somebody took it upon themselves to leak it. I've been leaking shit for 50 years. Okay. Yeah, that's again, when you're immersed in something and you want it to be, the hardest thing is when you can't walk away from something, and you will absolutely change your direction and your approach because the fear of getting fired or the fear of leaving or somebody firing. And I've never had that fear. I've never liked it, but I've never had that fear. The reason why I think I've been successful is because I stick to my guns. I stick to what I think an artist should be doing and moving them along at light speed. And a lot of them don't want to work as hard as I make them work. That's always a problem with me, is that the artist goes, holy fuck, I've been out on the road did 300 shows last year. You go, well, you could have been a hairdresser, could have stayed at home.
Right.
Could have worked at fucking Pottery Barn. Fucking got off at 4:30 and smoked weed with your friends and fucking played video games. Okay. But now you're playing in 59 countries around the world with people screaming for you, and you're pissed.
Yeah. I told you one time I was trying to get an artist what they deserve, and you told me you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate.
That's what I said. So I've always said that. That's in life. You don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And that's what it is. I wish the fucking karma train would come around and kill a bunch of people, but it ain't gonna happen. Okay. It's and there's a saying I've lived by since my brother passed away, and when he was 48. This is years and years and years ago. And he said this thing. He said, you have to remember, you have to aspire to be what you desire to appear.
Ooh. I like that.
Okay. No, I didn't make this up. Socrates said it 1,000 years ago. And what that really means in layman's terms is if you want people to look at you a certain way, you have to live your life that way. It's about the journey, not about the event.
Yeah.
Okay. So people respect you if you earn their respect. Just because you're in it for 50 years doesn't mean dick.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to be respected for people have to look at you and go, wow, he did that. He lives his life. I know who he is. I know Adele lived every moment of what she sings. I know Ed Sheeran broke his arm with his brothers running in the fucking field. Okay. I know Dylan, what he's done with Springsteen and stuff, the things, and but my artists too, as well. This is what they live for. They weren't trying to just make hits. No, none of my artists tried to do it. You try to do something, you will never do it. It has to organically happen for you. You have to be that person. You have to go and you have to make your shit happen. And what I have to do is put them on a platform that they can do it, that they can actually stand there and see themselves and be better at what they do. Empower them to be better artists. That's all you can do.
One of the things that you said that stuck with me for years, I wrote it down and I think about it almost every day, dealing with artists, managers, labels. You said, it's big because we say it's big.
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me. It's like perception is reality. It's deeper than that, though. And we'll be on conference calls to this day, and you'll hear somebody say, hey, listen, it's big because we say it's big. And you should get a royalty for that.
Well, but listen, if you don't think it's big, how is everybody else going to think it's big?
Yeah.
When Kiss came back together again and put makeup on and I was right there. I wasn't a Kiss fan. Okay. I just knew that this was time in the height of grunge. Okay. when nobody wanted to see 4 fat guys in makeup standing on top of the fucking world. Okay. All right. I knew that people were ready for fun. So people said, oh, you should put 10 theaters up and see how they do in theaters. And then we'll move them to, I said, fuck no, I'm doing Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. I'm going to rent the Intrepid. I'm going to have Conan O'Brien be the host. Okay. I'm going to announce one fucking show. I'm going to play 4 songs. I'm going to have Kiss fans there. I'm going to blow it up. It's going to look bigger than life. And I'm going to put up fucking Tiger Stadium first show. And they go, that'll never happen. I go, good. Then I quit because I don't need to do this. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work, but I'm not going to go through the theaters. That's bullshit. So the perception of Kiss was they were big.
Yeah.
And then it blew out.
Yeah. It was huge.
You know? And we've done 3,000 shows since then in 59 countries around the world in front of millions and millions of kids, millions and millions of people, you know. And so on the Kiss front, it was just such a great ride. Gene and Paul are unbelievable partners, besides good friends, which is hard to do. Okay. But we're good friends because we can, you know, I saw something, you know, on these Instagrams you go and they talk about, and they're saying this, I don't know what percentage it was, but for people that can talk to each other and can say you're wrong and this and talk it out, they have like a 82% better chance of success than the people that don't talk about things and don't sit down and confront and take ownership in their stuff. And I go, absolutely. You know, and I tell everybody, you take ownership in your stuff. Okay, when you have a bad show, you take ownership in it. There's a reason why kids didn't come. Maybe you sucked the last time you were here. I don't know. You know what I mean? You said something in the press. You did, but you have to take ownership in what you're doing.
So as we wind down here, Doc, I have like the lightning round.
Sure.
Just 4 really quick questions, brutally honest. I'll just run through them. First one, most outrageous writer request you remember?
You know, I mean, listen, most of my artists after the first week, okay, get that they don't get shit, okay, because it's just a waste of money. It's a waste of time, okay. But I've seen, I couldn't even get into it. It's bizarre. Go ahead.
All right. Next one. One thing you wish artists would stop doing.
Oh my God. We could be here all day. I think listening to people that have no skin in the game. That's the hardest thing. And listening to people and believing shit that they don't need to believe, that they don't even need to talk about.
Yeah. And finally, if you could have managed any artist from history, who would that be?
Oh my God, the Beatles would have been in history.
Yeah.
I think the Beatles, the Stones, or Zeppelin would obviously who wouldn't do it. I mean, I loved Queen. Yeah. I was, and remember when Queen came out, that was a tough sell. I mean, it was really, really a tough sell. Okay. But I mean, that was the experimental time in the music business, that you could Magical Mystery Tour to all the different things, to Floyd, to Yes, to ELO, all these amazing, it wasn't Don't Boris Get Us to the Chorus. It was fucking a whole ride that you went on.
Yeah.
Okay. And that to me is where I live. And I still bring that, I try to bring that to what my life is today.
Yeah. Well, Doc, thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure talking with you. I hope to talk to you again soon. I hope you enjoy Naples and the grandkids and whatever golf you do and this new thing that you're working on. And I hope your QTR is long.
And same to you, Jay, and the family.
All right.
All the best, bud.
Thank you, brother. Take care. Appreciate you.
You've been listening to Your Morning Coffee, the weekly music news program for the new music business. Join Jay Gilbert and Mike Etchart next time for the digital music news you need to know.
What's happening? Is there too much light behind me?
No, it's fine. We're only recording the audio.
Oh, you're only recording audio anyways. Okay.
Yeah, we're good to go. How are you,
So
Doc?
how are you? How's the family?
Doing really well. You know, my youngest is getting married in March. She graduated from Colorado State.
Oh, my God.
I know. I don't like anything about it. Kids are good. Dogs are good. How about you?
Same thing. My wife's mean as a snake. You know, she's awesome. And, you know, it's the usual. We're, you know, doing all kinds of great stuff that I never got to do, you know, so It's all good.
Yeah. You know, it's your QTR, right? The quality time remaining.
That's exactly where I'm at, buddy.
Yeah. A friend of mine wrote a book and I have a page of it on my wall because it resonates with me. She said the average lifespan in the US is 78. And so there are 78 blocks on this page. And she wants you to fill in the blocks up to your age. And you realize you only have a few blocks left.
That's it. Yeah, that's the key. You know, tell people I play dodgeball every day. Just trying to not get hit by the ball, and I'm out of the game. Okay. So, you know, it's
yeah.
But you know, something you can't worry about it. And we've had a blessed life. We live in the best country in the world. We could have been born in Gaza. We could have been born in Ethiopia. We could have had so many crazy shit that for us to complain ever about things is retarded.
Amen, brother. Absolutely. Well, this will be about 30 minutes, very conversational. It'll be relatively painless. And so I'm just going to hit record and we will jump right in.